The EPA is passing new rules that are going to be applied in the summer. Of course, conservatives are flipping out. I'll tell you about that in a second. But it turns out some scientists went to work to figure out how much of a benefit it would have for the U.S. Turns out the answer is a lot. Okay, wait till you see the specifics. Let's go to the Washington Post here. The EPA's Clean Power Plan seeks to cut emissions of carbon dioxide largely through stricter limits on the coal-fired power plants, one of the country's largest sources of greenhouse gas pollution. Okay, now, but here comes the twisty twist. We know they're doing this to limit, the devastating effects of climate change. But as the Washington Post explains, while carbon dioxide is the focus of the EPA's regulations, other kinds of air pollution also would be reduced if the rules go into effect, according to the Nature study. This study was done by some professors at Harvard and other places. So let's get more into the details. The study compared different implementation scenarios and found that a robust standard, roughly similar to the one outlined by the EPA when it unveiled its proposal last year, would result in substantial and rapid improvements in air quality, along with a sharp drop in deaths from heart attacks and respiratory ailments. Now that sounds pretty good, right? But that would only help the citizens. So, of course, people like Mitch McConnell are still seething over this, saying, no, we've got to protect the coal industry instead. Now, how much would it help the citizens? This is the shocking fact. Depending on implementation, the proposals could prevent about 3,500 premature deaths a year, mostly from respiratory disease, said the study's authors, scientists from Harvard and Syracuse universities, and 4 other institutions. Okay, this is when Republicans would cry, oh no, the scientists, I don't believe them, they're biased, they just want to save our lives. Okay, I don't know what their bias would be. Like, for example, if they're paid by a giant oil company to say don't worry about climate change, I get the bias. Right? If they're working at Harvard, Syracuse, all these other places, and they're looking at data, why? You really believe that there's a global conspiracy to trick us all into thinking that, oh yeah, those scientists, 97% of them got together in a smoke-filled room and decided, yes, let's pretend there's climate change. And when it doesn't happen, we'll trick them and go, ha, surprise. You got to be near lunatic to believe that, right?
Jank, you don't understand, dude.
Oh, no, I don't.
So
Go ahead, Jim.
Listen, man, the longer we live, the more taxes we pay to this tax and spend government.
Yeah.
So they're trying to save our lives to siphon more money out of our pockets. Come on. It's science.
Jerry, you're so right. I'm so sorry to... And you know what? That's a fair point. I mean, if we died earlier, we couldn't support government as much. Then on the other hand, we'd be dead. Okay, so... Washington Post continues to explain the most significant gains the report said would occur in states such as Texas and Ohio, home to some of the most vociferous opponents of the proposed regulations. In other words, dudes, we're trying to save your life. Okay, if you live in Texas, I know you're like, oh yeah, no climate, yeah, right? But no more of you are going to die. For Christ's sake, for whoever's sake, let us help you. These are scientists, and a lot of these people, they get hoodwinked by the people who would make more money, the oil companies, fossil fuel industry, etc. And they use the religious guys. And some of the congressmen have said in the past, like, now, if the good Lord didn't want us to take the oil, why did he put it under the ground? Well, if the good Lord didn't want us to use the sun as renewable energy, why did he put it in the sky? GOP lawmakers are gearing up to battle the measure, of course, on Capitol Hill. And in the courts, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has written letters to the governors of all 50 states urging them not to support the regulations. Oh my God, you might save some Kentucky citizens. Those are the citizens I'm supposed to represent. Don't do that. Why? McConnell has called the proposals harmful to the coal industry and the economy. Who cares about your stinking lives? You don't matter. You don't give campaign donations to Mitch McConnell or the other Republicans and some of the Democrats. So you don't matter at all. Man, they make it perfectly obvious who they represent.